of joining the Rose v. Raffensperger case. I was not even aware that such a thing was even possible until that conversation. I've thought a lot about that. I haven't made enough effort to, and I haven't posted anything about it to all of you about where to go and how to learn more and how we should be thinking of this. But I will leave you with this. I do believe this is basically a good idea if we can make it happen. Primarily, we want the court to know that their decisions are affecting us. That needs to be part of this court case. It will be up to our initiatives to make it happen, if it's going to happen at all. I seriously doubt they're just going to one day, without us being involved, suddenly start talking about how this is affecting others. So we need to take that initiative and do it if we can. And we don't have enough information to make a good decision, but we need to be moving forward with that. That's really on me to create that initiative. I'm just strapped for time. And finally, just so all that you know, our next meeting for the Bedrock Ballot Access team will be this Thursday at 7 p.m. It'll be a virtual meeting. The link is in Basecamp, or you can contact me directly to help you get hooked up. So please show up. Please show up and give us your input and listen to what we have to say. I think it will be well worth your time. I do keep the meeting moving quickly, and all of you know that how important this is for our future. And unless there are any questions or any comments, that pretty much wraps it up for me.
All right. And are you posting that on the HQ, or are you posting it in the executive committee?
I'm posting in HQ the announcements for the meeting, and if anything else of general interest shows up that's pertinent, I will do it there. So go there to get the meeting schedule. It is on the schedule in HQ. Okay.
Okay. Good.
Things like whatever I post about joining the Rose v. Raffensperger thing, I will post directly to the XCOM. It is us that's going to have to make the decision about that. Any other questions?
I think that's it for now.
Okay. Then I'm done. Thank you.
Perfect. I'm trying to grab that. Meeting Thursday, April 11th. And I see it on our schedule. So we are cooking, guys. So I've got it in my calendar. And you guys can do the same. Put it in your calendar and have it ready to go. All right. Mark, can I have you mute? There we go. All right. So we are back to our social media policy. Mr. Placey, are you pulling something up, or are you just having trouble? He might have dropped. Mr. Graham?
Just when we get started, I was just prematurely raising my hand.
Okay. So the agenda item is the social media policy. We, at the last meeting, postponed the motion to adopt the social media policy as it was written, and it was postponed until tonight. So the motion is back on the floor to adopt this social media policy as written. Is there any debate? Mr. Graham first, and then
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion to substitute this with what I had posted to Basecamp with the making a making a policy manual amendment.
Okay. It's been moved to substitute with the social media policy that was posted on Basecamp. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any debate? Mr. Johnson, do you want to speak? There we go. That's our proposed social media policy.
I can speak to the original motion.
Okay,
and the
actually,
new one that's on-
tell you
and the
what,
new one too,
so-
both of them.
okay. What I've just realized is I'm going in the wrong direction. So I will go back to Mr. Graham because it is his motion.
Cool.
If you would like to speak to it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a couple things here. I'm not going to go into it too deeply because you guys have had a lot of time to look at it. So I just wanted to say first, I appreciate the work that Zach put in. I thought it was really good. The biggest thing I found with issue there was that we have the policy manual. And so instead of being some document that lives off in the middle of nowhere, we should just incorporate it into there. And I thought Brian had a lot of really great feedback from my initial draft that I incorporated into this. I think every bit of it, for the most part, except for the one thing that there was one listing there that was based on in section in C that's right here, or yeah, with when I listed out race, ethnicity, gender, blah blah blah. There was a catch-all that was said or, and we couldn't figure out the right modifier for the characteristic. So what I decided for this version, the final version to propose here, was just to cut that off because this list doesn't change very often, and having a catch-all there really just doesn't help anyone when we can all vote to add something if we want to, and that will be super rare anyway if it even ever happens again. So I wasn't too worried about that. The other thing is I saw the conversation around micromanaging. Didn't want to do that. So a lot of the types of content that we would like to see is encouraged, right? We're not gonna like slap you on the wrist because you didn't do any of this stuff, but I do think it's appropriate for this body to say like, hey, this is the kind of stuff we'd like to see. And I think this should be kind of a living thing that we can modify as we go. And then the other thing is, oh yeah, and then there's just harder lines around content not to post, which is, you know, obviously the section 3 above that has stuff like, hey, you know, don't use the N-word. It wouldn't be in there based on that. We've used other language that isn't okay. We've used anti-Semitic tropes. I think it was ignorance at first, but then it got doubled down on once it was even known to be an anti-Semitic trope. So then, you know, that frustrated some people. But I think setting some hard lines there is very helpful. And then also formalized methods of removal of posts, which I think most of those things would have been legit anyway. So that's it.
Okay. Is there any further debate? Mr. Johnson, did you want to, we can come back to you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I could. Can y'all hear me?
We hear you.
Well, I'd like to speak, I guess, in favor of not modifying the policy manual in that section. One thing that sticks with me that I heard or read or at some point was that social media to the political activists of today is kind of like the pamphlets and the political activists of the 18th century, and that what we should do with these social media accounts in this environment, this political environment, is to speak the stark truth, and we need the freedom to do that. And I want to make it clear that I'm not speaking in favor of those specific posts that were upsetting, because I'm against those the ones that I saw. I think they never should have been posted, and that they should have been removed, and that the really that team member should probably have his privileges. Here's her privileges taken away. But the main point I just want to make is that the policy manual, as it's written, gives the leadership of our organization sufficient control over our social media. Thank you.
Ms. Holt and Mr. Dolan. Ms. Holt first.
Thank you. I don't know how many people know this about me, but I'm a professional marketer and social media manager for multiple accounts, some of which you know, and some of which you have no idea it's me. You have no idea it's me because I do a good job at it. That being said, whenever I'm given guidelines as to what I can and cannot talk about or post, they're very specific because they want to still look good in the presence of the population. It is very important. I do this for businesses. I do this for individuals. If we do not have steadfast rules, as we've seen in the past, we get people who think they can say and do anything. The problem when we don't have, this is the exact guidelines that you have to go by, is they are allowed to free reign. And free reign to different people means different things. So I think there has to be specifics because we've obviously had issues in the past and we can have issues in the future if we do not have specific guidelines. Thank you.
Okay, we've done 2 in favor. Any opposed? If not, we'll just go to the next in favor. Somebody want to speak out?
I was going to speak in favor.
Okay. Mr. Dolan's in favor. Everyone else in favor?
Mr. Chair, I seek to be recognized to speak against.
Okay. Mr. Placey, if you'd like to speak against, and then we'll come back to Mr. Dolan for the sake of order.
So I wanted to point out that one part of the amendment that is particularly concerning to me is this section 4 part G, where it says comply with social media platform terms of service and community standards to avoid account suspensions or bans. Now, as we've seen many times over the past couple of years, you can say something that would be completely in accordance with the LP's platform and resolutions, and the social media companies will find that grounds to ban you. So if we had that, even if it's just an encouragement where it's a high priority to avoid account suspensions, I feel like that could really chill what people would feel that they would be able to say, because you could get banned for saying a lot of things that all libertarians would agree with, or at least most.
Thank you, Mr. Placey. Mr. Dolan?
Yeah. I am so tired of bringing posts to base camp that when we look at them, everyone agrees this needs to go. And the way to prevent that is with clear direction. It is our responsibility as the executive committee, as the leadership, to provide that clear direction. A clear policy provides clear direction. And this here, as Ryan has amended it, provides very clear direction. Regarding the section 4G, it is mentioned, it is encouragement. If we post something that that any sensible person should say complies with community standards and terms of service, and the and the social media platform, the AI or whatever, or decides to strike out at us anyway, that is not a strike against the social media team. They have still continued to adhere to our policy. They aren't expected to avoid the bans. They're just the frivolous bans, or strikes. But I wouldn't think. But as long as they are complying, as long as they are doing their best to be compliant, with common sense application of their terms of service, I would think that would be sufficient to meet our basis. And if we are clamped down on, then okay, we can certainly bring that to light. That is one thing to bring to light against the social media companies, but we shouldn't invite it. That's anyway. That's my 2 cents. I believe that this is a solid policy. I don't believe that it is overly burdensome. I believe that it is clear, and clarity is what we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dolan.
Hey, this is Doug Craig. I got a question whenever it's my turn. I'm on the phone, so I can't.
Yeah, go ahead and do your question. We'll call it a point of go ahead.
So is the Twitter team the same as it's been over the last couple of years? Is it the same team that we've always had? Has the social media team changed over the last couple of years, or the same people that made those kind of posts?
There have been additions, I believe, but
we've had no subtractions even after those posts?
Maybe one, but I can't speak fully to that. Mr. Varnell, do you?
Is there a way that we can, on a regular basis, post who is in charge of our social media, even if we're like having a private company do it? I think it'd be nice for us to know who is on the social media teams, on the things. Obviously, I know I'm on the Facebook page, but I would like to know sometimes who these guys that are posting and how many of them are actually in Georgia. Are they all from Georgia? And why there wasn't repercussions when it happened without the policy? That's it. I'll go back on mute.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Mr. Graham, you are next in line, but I do want to give the opportunity to anyone else who raised their hands first, because you've spoken once to the motion. Anyone else? Okay, Mr. Graham.
Yeah, I wanted to point out the Zane's, I think it was Zane that said the section or 4G, the comply with social media platform terms of service and community standards line. That one, I actually, I copied that from the original one that was proposed. So that's in both of them, actually. And honestly, I almost didn't copy it over because for the reasons supplied, I almost didn't keep things legal because whatever. But I did add it in the end just to kind of keep them more in line with what was already proposed and not change things too much. But whichever version we go with, we're going to have to amend it to get rid of that anyway.
Thank you. That's a good point of clarification.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any, Mr. Sheehan?
Hey, can you hear me?
I do hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think a lot of the spirit of this policy is, the tone of it and the spirit of it is in the right place. I think a lot of where you get into the specifics, It seems to me a little bit too prescriptive about very specific situations, and it seems like maybe it's a little bit overkill. A lot of these things are open to interpretation, and it's a subjective opinion as to whether these things are appropriate or not. And I feel that the policy that the original policy that's being amended right now is already sufficient in addressing the broader topic that we're trying to address here. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Vernell, did you want to speak?
Can I call the question?
You may.
I call the question.
All right, it's been moved to the previous motion has been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. There is no debate on this. It is a 2/3. Those in favor of moving the previous question, we're not taking a vote on the question itself. We are just moving to end debate on the amended social media policy. So those in favor of ending debate, please indicate so by raising your hand.
I'm on the phone. Aye. Doug Craig.
Okay. I see 14.
Yeah, so that would be 14 plus 1.
14 plus 1, you're right. And that is 2/3, I believe, of the people. Those, y'all lower your hands because we got to take a no. Those opposed to ending debate. I'm going to assume that's not a hand raised, Mr. Sheehan, but if it is, that's okay too. All right. The motion carries. Debate is ended. Now we are on the question of the social media policy itself, the amendment to the social media policy, or the substitution, if you will. Those in favor of the social media policy that is amended, please indicate so by raising your hand. And we'll take your voice vote as well, Mr. Craig, if you're.
My voice vote is aye, in favor.
Okay. I see 9.
I also see 9.
Perfect. Y'all can lower your hands. Mr. Graham. And those opposed. I see 9. All right. It is a tie. As the chair.
Did you said 9 counted? Did you count the voice vote also?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So it's 9 and 9. I vote with the opposition. And so the
I want a roll call on that because I'm not sure that the voice vote got counted. I saw 9 hands raised. I just want to make sure it gets right because we're so close.
Sure. Y'all can lower your hands. Mr. Placey, it's you this time.
I do not know. Sorry about that.
All right. Those in favor, please indicate so by raising your hand, and we will include Mr. Craig in this one.
I believe that a roll call vote was requested. Is that correct,
right.
Mr. Graham?
That's correct.
Sorry. Roll call, not a division. Okay. I will go through each individual on the call just in the order I see them on the screen. And Mr. Placey, are you good to?
Mr. Chair, I have all the members' names here, so if you would like, I can call out the names.
That would be perfect. I would appreciate that.
So just going in alphabetical order, Mr. Allen.
Aye.
Ms. Austin.
Aye.
Mr. Barker.
Aye.
Mr. Boykin,
Nay.
Mr. Craig,
Aye.
Mr. Dolan,
Aye.
Mr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Holt,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Nay.
Mr. McKinney,
Aye.
Mr. Moldenhauer,
Abstain.
Mr. Mosley,
Aye.
Mr. Phillips.
Nay.
I vote with the opposition. Mr. Richards,
Nay.
Ms. Salvia, Ms. Salvia, are you there? I see you are in the meeting.
Nay. Hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Thank you. Mr. Sheehan,
Thanks.
Nay.
Mr. Scholl,
Nay.
Mr. Varnell.
Nay.
Was there anybody I didn't call? All right. I have a tally of 9 votes in favor and 9 opposed. Mr. Chair.
I vote with the opposition.
The motion fails by a vote of 9 in favor and 10 opposed.
Thank you, Mr. Placey. The motion fails. We are back to the original social media policy. We can continue debate on that if you guys are so willing. I did hear that there would be a required amendment if somebody had spoken against the terms of service. So that is also on the table. I will entertain that. Good call. Can we get the original back on the screen? I know we're giving you an exercise, Mr. Placey, but
I am working on that now.
cool. Okay.
Can people see it?
Yes. Okay. Again, we are at the original social media policy as presented at the previous meeting. Sorry, guys. Is there any debate? Ms. Austin.
As I said last month, this does not address our issue at all. I think that what we need to do is maybe regroup. I think that Ryan's motion attempted to address all of my concerns from last month. And if there are specific issues with that, maybe we need to take another stab at it. But this doesn't address any of those concerns. And I don't think there's any point in passing a social media policy that doesn't address the problems. So I think that what needs to happen is we need to take a second pass at it. And
Okay.
hopefully Ryan would be willing to do that.
Okay. I see Mr. Johnson.
Yes, I'd just like to reiterate that I think that the policy manual, as it's currently written, gives the leadership in our organization enough control over social media. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Dolan.
And
then
I would like to concur with Christine that these current manual does not address the problem. If it did, we wouldn't be having this discussion. And this amendment also does not address the problem. And and again, I am so tired of complaining about posts, and the posts are removed. I don't know that anyone anyone on the social media, the social media team, as far as I know, is a black box. I don't even know who has keys to the Twitter account, or I know of one or two folks that have keys to the Facebook account. I'm not one of them, but I don't know if anyone actually feels that there are, if anyone has no, if there are any consequences other than taking the post down. Whenever we bring, one of us, again, usually me, and I'm tired of it, brings an unacceptable, highly unacceptable post, poorly representing the Libertarian Party of Georgia, to the attention of this executive committee. I don't know who's responsible. I don't know if anyone on this call knows who's responsible. And I'm sick and tired of it. So let's get a solid policy. This is not a solid policy here that has been presented. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dolan. Mr. Barker?
I don't know that we've done this, but just to be sure, I'm going to make a motion that we postpone for further discussion on the changes that will recommend Ryan Graham. And the reason, because we've been working on this for a long time, and we need to get it right. We're a professional organization. We're not a bunch of yahoos. And that's the image, and that's what we have to portray, and we got to get this right. So that is my reason for wanting to postpone, and that's my motion.
Second.
Before you, can I have you hold on just for a second, Mr. Placey?
Oh.
I want to confirm with Mr. Barker, the motion, is that a postponement to the next meeting? Or is it a postponement indefinitely? Okay. We're going to post, the motion is
No, it's a postponement till the next meeting.
Okay. The motion is to postpone until the next meeting this this policy. So, Mr. Placey, if you wanted to second that motion specifically. Yes. Okay. It's been moved and seconded to postpone. Is there any debate? And recall, with debate on a postponement, it's only on the merits of postponement itself, not on the merits of the debate, as it were. So, is there any debate?
And I think I've expressed my merits, so go for that.
Perfect. Mr. Sheehan?
Yeah, I'd like to just observe that, what we have on our screen right here isn't perfect. It isn't what we all would desire in our hearts. It's not 100% of what we want, but I think it is an improvement on the status quo, very definitely. And I don't think we should postpone it. I think we should address what's in front of us now and just make the improvement that we need to just, move the ball forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sheehan. Mr. Allen?
I would point out, even if we adopt this today, we could always go back and amend it later.
Thank you. Is there any further debate? Ms. Holt.
I would like to officially state that one of the reasons I left the party is because the state party was coming after volunteers for Georgia and harassing them and bullying them. This does not take care of that issue. And I don't think that we should pass something that doesn't directly state what is and is not allowed. I know people are like, I don't want to hamstring the people that are running our social media. I understand why you're doing this. The social media on Twitter was rogue and no one was doing anything about it. I left because it was rogue. Many people left because it went rogue. If we don't put parameters in, specific parameters, we're going to lose more people.
Ms. Holt, I have to stop you. The postponement, the debate has to be only on the merits of postponement itself. And we can go back and I can recognize you if you want to speak to the original motion. But currently we have to stay on the postponement.
I would not vote in favor of anything unless it actually addresses the issue. So if we have to postpone, then we postpone. But I think we're doing away with things that are good just because we think it hamstrings people. So we can postpone, but we have to have an answer because we're going to lose more people. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Meant to mute myself.
All right, is there any further debate? Again, I'll remind the body only on postponement itself. And if you can lower your hand. Thank you. All right, the question is on postponement of this social media policy until the following meeting, which will be in May. We'll put a date on that. It is May 13th. Those in favor of postponing, Ms. Austin, did you want to speak?
No, I'm voting.
Okay. All right, we're going to close debate, and those in favor of postponing until the next meeting, please raise your hands.
Aye, Doug Craig.
Thank you, Mr. Craig. I see 9.
I also see 9.
Okay. Ms. Holt, your hand is still up.
Mr. Mosley, your hand is still up as well. Thank you.
Okay, those opposed?
I see 5.
I see 5 as well. The ayes have it. The motion carries. This will be postponed until the next meeting, which will be May 13th. All right. Thanks, everybody, for that. Mr. Barker, did you want to speak?
Yes, very briefly. I would encourage everybody to get in on the string that Ryan and Brian and everybody has created, and let's make progress on this through the month so that when we get to next meeting, let's have a document that's something that we can agree on and pass. As I said, we're a professional organization. We're looked at by a lot of people, and I think we need to get it right and do it right. And I think we can wrap it up next month. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move into our new business. There is a resolution to censure Adrian Malagon, which is going to be presented by Mr. Graham. Sorry.
It's okay. Do I need to read the whole thing? Is that like the formal process, or is everybody accepting?
That is the formal process, if you could.
All right. Yeah, sure. No problem. All right. Just leave it up, though. All right. Whereas it has been brought to the attention of the Libertarian, or I'm moved to pass this resolution as read, I guess. Whereas it has been brought to the attention of the Libertarian Party of Georgia that Adrian Malagon, at-large member of the Libertarian National Committee, has engaged in conduct that violates the established harassment policy of the Libertarian National Committee. And then I cite the LNC Policy Manual, section 2.016, and has contributed to the creation of a toxic environment within the organization. And whereas the actions of Adrian Malagon have included, but are not limited to, telling Doug Craig, a lifetime member of the Libertarian Party of Georgia, lifetime member of the National Libertarian Party, and a current member of the Executive Committee of the Libertarian Party of Georgia, that he's sorry Mr. Craig isn't dead. I posted a screenshot in Exhibit A. And calling Mr. Tunowitz, Region 6 representative of the Libertarian National Committee, tuna fish against his wishes in official communications, Exhibit B. And physically threatening Mark Tunowitz in official communications, Exhibit C. And making fun of Beth Vest's Region 7 representative of the Libertarian National Committee, her physical appearance on official communications, and that's Exhibit D. All of which are in direct violation of the published harassment policy of the Libertarian National Committee and have contributed to the creation of a toxic environment within the organization. And whereas the Libertarian Party of Georgia is committed to fostering an environment of respect, inclusivity, and professionalism as outlined in its harassment policy. There's the citation. And whereas it is imperative for the integrity and reputation of the Libertarian National Committee to address and rectify behaviors that are contrary to the standards of conduct expected of its members. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Libertarian Party of Georgia hereby censures Adrian Malagon for violating the established harassment policy of the Libertarian National Committee and for contributing to the creation of a toxic environment within the organization. And the Libertarian Party of Georgia calls upon Adrian Malagon to cease and desist from engaging in any further behavior that violates the harassment policy of the Libertarian National Committee or contributes to a toxic environment within the organization. And the Libertarian Party of Georgia reaffirms its commitment to upholding the principles of respect, inclusivity, and professionalism within the organization and encourages all Libertarian National Committee members to adhere to the established harassment policy. And the Libertarian Party of Georgia calls upon the Libertarian Party of Georgia calls upon the Libertarian National Committee to censure Adrian Malagon for the reasons listed herein and to take further action up to and including removal from the Libertarian National Committee if the behavior persists.
All right, it has been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to adopt the following resolution, the resolution on the screen. Is there any debate?
I'd like to speak to the motion.
Yes, please. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's cool. So I just wanted to throw it out there that a censure is just this body formally disagreeing with the behavior that's been exhibited. I would not call this a trial, even though I know that's what will be said in debate. It's just we witness behavior, and we're saying it's not acceptable behavior. And it should be a pretty easy vote. If you think it's acceptable to behave that way, the way that he's been behaving, then vote no. But if you think it's not acceptable, then vote yes. I don't think there has to be tons of debate, but there probably will be. But that's pretty much all I have to say about it.
Okay, it's been spoken in favor of. I saw Ms. Austin's hand first. Are you speaking for or against?
I actually just have a comment.
Okay.
I just feel compelled to say to Mr. Craig, who is on the call, and go on record as saying, I am glad that you're not dead. You are a true benefit to this party. I'm sorry that happened.
I surely appreciate that. I know he had gotten a little worked up over some of the comments we were having with each other. So but I'm more disgusting than some of the other things he's done. But he is definitely a very toxic person. Does not know how to handle himself professionally, and has definitely made it a toxic workplace at the national level. And because he does have some bearing on Georgia, it is affecting us by national struggling to raise funds because of people like him.
Okay, we've seen 1.5 in favor. Anyone opposed out of this group, or do we just go straight through?
I have opposition.
Okay, Mr. Allen.
Sorry, I didn't know we were voting.
No. We're speaking in going in order of in favor, opposition, in favor, opposition.
Okay, my mistake.
Going back and forth just in the order of Robert's rules. So, Mr. Allen, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to move to amend the resolution, if we could get that up on the screen, Mr. Placey.
I do have that. Give me a second.
If you just want to do the suggesting right on there for whatever gets amended, and if it passes, I'll just click the yes. That works for me, if that makes your life easier.
I do have the amended version as a document. Should be coming up here in a couple seconds.
Okay, so yes, I move to amend the resolution by striking out has and inserting may have, striking out has and inserting may have, striking out actions of and inserting allegations against, striking out have, striking out the second D and included, striking out are and inserting would be, inserting may, striking out the first operative clause, striking out the second operative clause, striking out censure and inserting investigate the above allegations against, striking out for the reasons listed herein, striking out further, inserting any and all appropriate, striking out if the behavior persists, and I suppose striking out the number 3 and inserting the number 1, and striking out the number 4 and inserting the number 2.
Okay.
And I can speak to it too.
Okay, if you'd like to speak to it.
So in the policies that are referenced in this very resolution, the appropriate response when allegations such as this are brought to our attention is to investigate, including the policy manual for the Libertarian National Committee. So the correct thing for us to do, instead of just declaring Mr. Mulligan guilty of these allegations with less than 24 hours of consideration, is to refer to the National Committee and tell them that they should investigate them seriously. And if they do not investigate them seriously, we can hold them to account at the National Committee, at the National Convention next month.
Okay. It's been moved. Is there a, did we have a second on that? I'm sorry, I didn't even ask. Or did we?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Now that we've already had debate on it. Is there any further debate? Do I see any hands? Mr. Johnson, Mr. Graham, either of you, we just had someone in favor, so someone who would be opposed to the amendment.
I mean, I'm opposed to the amendment.
Okay, Mr. Graham, if you'd like to speak.
Yeah, this is what I was saying, that it's going to be treated as like we're trying to act as some sort of judiciary body in this instance, and we're not. I'm not trying to say that Mr. Maligon should have anything happen to him, except for in the future if it continues. And the LNC can handle that in any which way they want to, including up to and including, you know, having an investigation or whatever. But there's no investigation required. I mean, just go to the business list and read the way that he treats other Libertarian Party activists, and you'll see that he is always, I mean, really, just it's crazy how often he is just, he harasses his peers on there. And then, you know, I wasn't going to even bring this up ever until he brought it up until he was on social media with Doug Craig, who's a member of this body. So it's not like this is something that, you know, we have to go in and research what was said and all this. I mean, you can just like it. That would be a giant waste of time. And I'm not trying to waste everybody's time. I'm just trying to say, hey, as a body, we don't agree. So I'm respectfully against this amendment.
Okay. Mr. Sheehan, would you like to speak?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to raise a point of order. Is that appropriate for me to do right here?
You may. It's always in order.
Yeah, I would like to observe that this censure is premature, and I've got 3 problems with it. We have a policy manual, the section 4.14 talks about procedures for this, and we're not following those procedures. So the first issue is that this individual is not a member of our party, to my knowledge. Second is that, you know, our policy manual calls for the XCOM to investigate situations like this and figure out what's going on. So we shouldn't shoot first and ask questions later. The third issue is that the manual calls for the XCOM to protect the individual's confidentiality when making an investigation. And I think this censure would, you know, have us doing something public against this individual. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like you to rule on the validity of my point of order, and whether and say that this censure violation violates our procedural rules.
Okay, and you said it was 4.1.
4.1.4.
Zane, were you going to say something? Did you have a point of?
Yes, I did have a point of order directed to Mr. Sheehan, which forgive me if I'm not fully comprehending what you meant, but if your point of order is specifically to do with the censure, then it would actually not be in order to bring that up right now as we're in debate in an amendment that would make the motion no longer be a censure, just the regular resolution calling for an investigation.
Okay, that is a valid point. I was actually going to ask if this had been, if this amendment had been removing that censure, which I see that it is. Okay, so tell you what, if you want to make that, I will make a ruling on it if this amendment fails. If that will be, so I'll say it's not in order at the current time, that point of order. Or
Okay,
we'll call it not well taken. Mr. Allen.
I'd like to speak in favor of it again, if I may.
Is there anyone else that wants to speak before? Okay, Mr. Allen, you may.
So, yes, so the censure, the first operative clause that I'm attempting to remove, does explicitly state that Adrian Mulligan has violated the harassment policy. If we adopt the original resolution without this amendment, then we will be declaring that he is guilty of violating harassment policy. It's right there in black and white. I don't know how else to explain it.
There we go. Okay. Mr. Graham?
Call a question.
Would you prefer just to close debate?
Oh, sure. Yeah, there's no one else. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
I
please.
think we're closing out, so I don't want to take 2 votes if we can't.
Yeah.
Okay. If there's no further debate, we will close debate and we will vote on this amendment to the original resolution, the resolution as amended. Sorry, it's the amendment and then the resolution. So we'll have to vote twice, right?
Well, we will have to vote on the amendment. And if the amendment passes, then we will be in debate on the resolution as amended. If it fails, then you will take back up the point of order lodged by Mr. Sheehan.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Sometimes I get my brain rattled. All right, so we will vote on the amendment to the resolution, not the resolution as amended, just the amendment to the resolution. Those in favor of the amendment to the resolution, please indicate so by raising your hand, and I will hear on the phone as well. I'm listening for both sides of this.
I see 3 in favor.
Okay.
Oh, 4. Yep. Sorry, my hand always goes down before I wanted to. Sorry about that.
All right, 4. I see 4. Please lower your hands. All right, those opposed.
Doug Craig is opposed.
Thank you, Mr. Craig. I see you, plus 8 others, which makes 9.
I see 9.
The nays have it. The motion fails, and we are back to the original amendment. Mr. Sheehan, your point of order is now. Did you want to speak?
No, thank you. Thank you for putting it back up. Yep.
Yep. So I will recognize that point of order, and we are saying 4.1.4. I will say that point of order is well taken. And this,
motion to overrule the chair, the ruling of the chair.
all right. There is a motion to appeal from the ruling of the chair. This is a 2/3 vote based on Georgia rules. We will commence with debate, I believe, on this one. And y'all give me just like 30 seconds, stand at ease, just to make sure I do it correctly.
Nah, you're delving into some, some stuff we haven't had to deal with for a while.
Yeah. Since 2022, if you remember that. Okay, so the way this goes is I will speak to why I ruled in the direction I did to call the point of order well taken. And then we can debate. Everybody gets one opportunity, and then I get a chance to speak at the end. So I will say very simply, looking at the policy, I think for one, this is not our place to do this at the state level. Two, there has not been any investigation, and these are allegations here that are being presented as facts, and this hasn't been judged. This hasn't been taken to the National Judicial Committee. There are a lot of things here that just don't make sense to me as far as the policy, and I think we have a lot more important things to deal with than censuring a guy from the LNC that we don't know and we don't have the evidence from any investigation conducted by the LNC or the state party. So that would be my thought there. It is now open for debate. Mr. Graham?
Yeah, I think Mr. Sheehan, in his point of order, actually said it right. He's not one of our members. I was leveraging the harassment policy that we have voted and approved on and reflecting it upon somebody else, not to punish them. Because again, a censure is not a punishment. I prefaced my part of the debate with that. A censure does not do anything to the person who it is, we're censuring. He's probably just going to laugh it off and post on social media that we're a bunch of probably some terrible word. And that'll be fine. The point here is to make sure that people who are external to this particular body and that body understand that the Libertarian Party of Georgia doesn't stand for the way that he's treating his peers and members of the Libertarian Party, including members of the Libertarian Party of Georgia that are members of the organization that this board chair is in charge of. So that's why, because the point of order has to do with the fact that he's not under this and that there's not been any investigation or anything. There doesn't have to be an investigation to censure somebody. It's absurd to think that. So thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone? Okay, I see multiple. I don't know who put their hand up first, but we'll go. We just did opposed. Anyone in favor? You're gonna have to speak out if you're in favor. If not, I'm just gonna go.
I am. I'm in favor.
Okay.
I think my comment, Jared, is going to come out. I'm not sure how it's going to come out, whether it's in favor or not, but I'm going back to what I heard you say with the motion. But I agree with Ryan. This guy needs a smack in the mouth figuratively, not physically, although he would take that position apparently. Would it be a suitable thing for the executive committee for the Georgia Libertarian Party to send a letter or email or message formally to the, I think you said Judiciary Committee with the LNC? I'm not sure I got that right. Asking them to look into this because we have a problem with it. So I'm ending, that sounds like a question. I guess I'm ending on a question.
Yeah, I don't think that's out of the question. I hate to admit that I'm not up on how the Judiciary Committee at the national level works. So I will say that I don't think it's out of the question, but we'd have to look at the national bylaws and see how it's structured to see if that would be a thing.
And worst case is national and know who the hell we are.
Right. Okay. Mr. Johnson, that was you that said you were in favor, right? Or was that?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
I'd like to speak in favor of the point of order being accepted. The resolution to me, in my opinion, seems random and arbitrary and basically none of our business. I'd never heard of Mr. Malagon before, I guess, this morning. And honestly, I just don't want to get started trying to censure every a-hole on the Libertarian National Committee. It would take up all the productive hours of our day. And I'm in opposition to the resolution with all goodwill and without rancor. Thank you.
I would just like to remind everybody that we are currently in debate over whether or not to overturn or sustain the chair's ruling of the point of order, not on the resolution itself.
Thank you, Mr. Placey. Well taken. I'm just going to start going in random orders. Mr. Mosley.
Okay, I'm going to speak in favor of sustaining the chair's ruling. For one, first of all, I completely agree with the spirit of what Ryan's trying to do. I think there are better ways to deal with this. But the big reason for me is the lack of time for consideration. Like Mitch, I hadn't even heard of this guy until late last evening. I haven't had time to think this through and think of all the ramifications of doing this, even though I agree with speaking out against this kind of behavior. So trying to make this happen with less than 24 hours notice fails my personal rule of the time to consider our decisions. And so I'm in favor of sustaining the chair's ruling. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mosley. Mr. Dolan.
Yes. I would like to reiterate that the evidence supporting this resolution is posted as exhibits in the resolution that, and it is publicly viewable. This is a public conversation, not requiring much in the way of investigation. And in addition, for those who don't know, I'd like to share that on April 3rd, the chairs of Region 7 issued a letter. They writing, "We, the chairs of Region 7, are appalled at the events preceding the Executive Committee meeting on 29th March 2024. At-large Representative Adrian Malagon made motion to exclude our Representative Beth Vest from observing the XCOM meeting with a reason that has no basis nor merit, repeating actions prior to the previous XCOM meeting of 4th February. This is a pattern of behavior that is unprofessional and detrimental to the business of the Libertarian National Committee is tasked to conduct. With those concerns in mind, the chairs of Region 7 have called for the removal of Adrian Malagon from the Libertarian National Committee. That is the chairs of the Libertarian parties of Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas. That is a large portion of a notable portion of the of our neighboring states, of our fellow states. So I do believe that this motion here is mild in comparison to what has already been put out there, and that yes, we should be more aware of what is going on the national stage, that it as it impacts us, and that we do need to be active in holding people who are supposed to be representing us as at-large representatives are to task.
Thank you, Mr. Dolan. Mr. Sheehan?
Yes, thank you. So I'm going to speak in favor of my own point of order, if that's allowed. But
Yeah.
so just to support your decision, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to observe that, we should be adhering to our own rules if we're going to be sticklers for rules. And this is a disciplinary measure. Someone called it like smacking a guy. If we're going to do that, everyone here should be familiar with who the individual is that we're smacking, and what the factual grounds are and the whole context of the argument and dispute this individual was having. And I don't feel like we have that information. If we take up, if we don't support this point of order, it's going to get the LPGA involved in some kind of a national dispute that none of us really fully understand. So thank you. I'll stop there.
All right, is there any further debate? Mr. Mosley, everyone gets one chance to speak. I'm sorry, I can't allow that, but I do appreciate that. All right, I will finish this up saying again, there was no investigation of it as our policy manual calls for. We are not in that business. We are a state party, and I don't see a reason we need to be doing this, violating our own policy manual to do that. So we will take this now to a vote, and we will close debate. This is a little bit weird, so everybody make sure that you're voting the right direction. The way that an appeal from the ruling of the chair is a vote to sustain the chair's ruling. So what you're doing is, if you sustain my ruling, you are going to go with my taking the point of order. If you vote not to sustain my ruling, you are saying that we're coming back to the resolution. So just make sure you're on the right side of whatever you're trying to decide. Does everybody understand? Is that okay for everybody? Everybody's brains? Mr. Placey, you
Yes,
say it better than I am.
I do just want to clarify that the vote is technically on the overturning of the chair's ruling. So a yes vote would be to overturn, and a no vote would be to sustain. And it requires a 2/3 majority to overturn.
Mr. Placey, I'm getting my
it's a little bit different in Vanilla Roberts, but according to the Georgia
okay, so we're doing Georgia rules. We're saying technically somebody has their mic on and it is wild. Okay. So you're looking at
so it's Rule 7 motions. Oh wait. Yeah, Rule 7 motions, paragraph H. Appeal the decision of the chair. A member may appeal a ruling or decision made by the chair which is perceived as unwarranted if the motion the appeal is put to a 2/3 vote.
Okay, so we will do it the opposite of what I said, because the motion is on the appeal, and I was going according to Roberts and not our bylaws. So everybody forgive me. A yes vote will be to uphold the appeal, and a no vote will be to sustain the ruling of the chair.
Yes.
If everyone's clear on that.
I'm not clear on that. I'm sorry. Can you make, so it's gotten kind of turned around now. So now I have to admit, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. My brain is, yeah.
Okay. So a yes vote will be in favor of overturning the ruling of the chair on the point of order, the consequence of which would bring the resolution back before the body. A no vote would sustain the ruling of the chair, after which we would stop considering the resolution as it has been ruled out of order. And this vote requires a 2/3 in favor to overturn.
All right. Are we all clear? As Mr. Allen says in the chat, yes brings us back to the resolution. It's as if nothing ever happened. No terminates it and goes with my ruling that it's out of order. So those in favor, we'll just say, of bringing the resolution back to the floor for consideration, please indicate so by raising your hands.
Doug Craig, yes.
I see 5 in favor.
5 in favor. That does include you, Mr. Craig. You can lower your hands. Those opposed will say to bringing the resolution back to the floor. I see
12 opposed.
All right. The nays have it, which means the ruling of the chair has been sustained. This resolution has been ruled out of order and sustained by the body. All right. We will move on to the next piece of business. Basically, we made a resolution at the last meeting to make goals, and I just wanted to change one of those goals, and it would take a 2/3 majority here at this meeting because I didn't give notice. But I'm going to give notice, and we'll do it at the next meeting. Sorry, guys, it's not my dog; it's my neighbor's dog, and there's nothing I can do about it. But I will try. I will try and mute as much as possible. Yeah. So the update to the membership committee goal. If you look down in you can actually scroll down to my chair's report. I added some stuff right before our meeting. Basically, all I'm going to do is move to strike goal 7 from call everyone in the Civi CRM database who lapsed in the previous 2 years and replace it with call 350 national members who are not LP Georgia members. And that comes from and we'll take this even into the chair's report. That comes from a conversation that I had with Gretchen and that Gretchen had with Elizabeth after looking at what Elizabeth was doing with affiliate support. They had kind of talked about some things that they wanted to do. They basically wanted to align what they were doing. And so we're trying to go for the easiest catch, the people who are already giving money to the national party and saying, okay, hey, let's get you involved in Georgia. Let's get you connected to everyone. This 350 number is more or less how many people have lapsed, quote unquote, just from a quick search over 2 years. So we're just basically changing what we're doing, getting the call. We're just going to change out the numbers of that goal and who we're calling, trying to get the same kind of numbers, but just changing who we're calling. So I don't expect it to be anything crazy, and I don't expect it to be super controversial, but it does require a vote on it to amend something that we've previously adopted. Mr. Graham?
I don't think there's been a second, so I'll hold off.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's not even to debate. It's just it's notice.
So that you're updating it. Okay.
Notice that I'm going to bring it at the next meeting.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Well, can I make a comment then?
If yes.
It's just a comment. It's not a debate. Just hey, why not both? That's all.
Not both.
It's a goal, you know.
Yeah, I appreciate the enthusiasm. We will assign you 100 of those. But no, yeah, I think this will be it for now. And if we blow out of the water, which I'm hoping we do, that's exciting. But I would prefer to present something really awesome at convention, that we are doing what we say we're going to do, and we're doing well, and we're surpassing even the goals that we set. So big thoughts. Okay. We'll move into the chair's report if there's no objections. Okay, perfect. The Spike Cohen versus David Hogg watch party is going to be April 10th. That's 2 days from now, this Wednesday at 6 p.m. It's going to be at Adventure Outdoors. And this is the address right here, 2500 South Cobb Drive, Southeast. And this is the link if anyone is curious. If you want to get to the debate, if you're not in Atlanta area or Savannah's doing it as well. Mr. Phillips, you're on the call, right? Still?
Yeah, right now we're still trying to find another venue. They canceled on us at the last minute. So they're heavy trying to find someplace else.
The struggle, man. We got canceled on as well. So that's something to think about, that and I want everyone on this call, as we're looking at some of this stuff, to think about the fact that when you bring up gun rights, when you bring up that you are an organization in favor of gun rights, you can't get a venue. You can't get, obviously Adventure Outdoors is like a gun shop, it's a gigantic, used to be like a BJ's, it looks like. Well, that's great, but you're not mainstream. So I want everybody to think about that the ideas that we hold as libertarians are very quickly becoming things that will get us ostracized. That, hey, we say we are Second Amendment activists. We're not in the majority, or we're in a place where the culture does not like people who have our positions on that. So consider that. I know there's not a lot we can do about that as it stands now, but I do want everybody to think about that we are in a weird spot with that. And just to be thinking about, hey, be cognizant that people will ostracize you for being a libertarian and actually being principled on that. Okay, National Convention delegation. Please send me a good address if you're a delegate or a ranked alternate. You can send it to me in the chat right here, or you can send me an email. That's a requirement for me to send in as the delegation chair. I just attended the training for mailing address. Thank you, Mr. Barnell. I just attended the delegation chair training, which was really good information. And I think it's going to be a good time at the convention, but I do need a good address from you guys. just so I can put it in and make it quick. I'm kind of strapped for time right now, so going through the CRM and trying to dig up everybody is going to take a lot. So that would help immensely. Okay, that's all I have currently. So we can move to the vice chair's report.
Sure. I don't have a whole lot to say as far as vice chair goes. We resumed our monthly director meetings, and I would like to thank all the directors who came out. And I hope more will show up next month. It's a good opportunity for the directors to get together and discuss any issues they're having and share what they're up to. And there's a lot of opportunities for collaboration. If you're having problems in one area that another director can help out on. Other than that, I have also included under Appendix M stuff for public policy, and I will answer questions regarding either vice chair or public policy if anyone has any. I saw some hands.
Perfect. Mr. Dolan first, and then Mr. Graham.
Regarding your points about the delegate addresses, if it would be helpful, I could query Civi myself for you, compile that list into a spreadsheet, place it in the Basecamp group of delegates for them to check yay or nay on, and that could take some work off your plate.
That would be fantastic. Yes.
And then also I did review and I posted in Basecamp for the delegates the delegate manual, and one of the points in there recommended setting up a Signal or Telegram chat for the group, and I wondered if you'd given thought to that, if you wanted that to be something that I could help you set up.
Yeah, I think that could be fun, and people can join as they wish and jump on in.
Yeah, it might be helpful, especially for on the spot coordination. Signal is my preferred, but I am open to either.
Yeah, I like Signal too. So if you want to.
Okay. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Graham, you had something?
Yeah. And Brian, I feel like this is going to feel pointed at you, but it's not, because I thank you for putting it in here. But there's a lot of empty reports in here. And I think it would be really great to see each committee director tracking against the goals that were set. At the very least in the report, maybe with a little bit more information, exactly as Brian did. I think that would be just phenomenal. So maybe at the next meeting you have with them, just to bring it up, to say, hey, if you guys could send us that in on a monthly whatever.
Sure. Cool. And most of the directors are here on this call, so they can hear you.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Cool. We will direct the directors to do so. Okay. Executive Director?
Yes. Okay, first of all, I'd like to speak to what you were talking about earlier with Gretchen and the membership. And one of the reasons why contacting lapsed members has not been a successful endeavor. You may have remembered that I put something, a post in the XCOM group about membership, and that included technical issues that is going on with the Civi, where members are showing up as lapsed members who are not actually lapsed. So she found that she was calling people and that was the case in some situations. So really, until we get that fixed, we really have no way of knowing what our accurate membership numbers are. And you may want to go back and reread that post that I put. That was like right after convention concerning that. So after talking, we figured that a good place to start would be finding national members that are not state members, because in that situation we know that they're not state members, and we're not calling people and who already are members and asking them to join, because that kind of makes us look like we don't know what's going on. So just to add a little bit more context to that decision. Okay, we're having an affiliate support, or the annual affiliate support workshop is going to be May the 4th in Barnesville. I'm having issues getting into Eventbrite, so I'm not really sure who has signed up at this point. I know that we had several members that had signed up the first day, so I feel confident that it's going to go well, and hopefully we can get these technical issues taken care of quickly so that I can get in there. I spoke to Edgar Mills today. We are scheduling 2 range days this year rather than 1. That will be June the 8th, and the other will be November the 2nd. And that's always a good outreach effort. I encourage people to try to bring a guest. I believe that we had determined that if you bring a guest to something like that, and that's a ticket sale, that can go against your fundraising requirement. And that's always been a good fundraiser for us. One thing that I had wanted to talk about at the XCOM in-person meeting, and it kind of got away from me in regards to affiliate support, is to please ask the XCOM members to be active in their local affiliates. And if you don't have an affiliate in your area, to please try to find one close by and become active in that. And also on occasion to visit an affiliate that might be a neighboring affiliate to you, because we are trying to encourage affiliates to visit one another. It's encouraging, it helps to get the numbers up, and it's just good in networking and helping to build those relationships. And finally, we have a venue for the Great Create, and I sent an email today. I haven't gotten back a verification yet, but it was one of the dates that we discussed, which would be September the 27th through the 28th. So tentatively, that is going to be the date for that. And that's all I have.
September 27th and 28th for what was that again? I'm sorry.
The Great Create.
Okay, got it. Mr. Graham?
Yeah. So just going back to the beginning of the report, there was some talk about the issues that we're having with the technology that we use in Civi. I know that National has been talking about that being quasi-broken for quite some time. And I know Elizabeth mentioned that it has been broken at least since our convention, and likely before then. And I really want to stress, I'm not putting the blame on anybody here, but I want to know if there's any updates on getting that resolved.
So currently where we're at is they're still digging into it at the national level. I think we're a month behind on doing the reports that we're supposed to be sending to them from our transaction processor that will basically, they can update the information for us to get people's data correct. So that's the current fix for the meantime. Obviously, it's a manual process, so we're working on figuring that out. And then we've got to change a few people's subscription IDs on their in Civi based on authorize.net. So we're making extremely slow progress, we'll say.
Do you know if there's a timeline on that from their side, or from? I guess it sounds like the bottleneck is our payment processor getting us the data we need. It sounds like
We have the data.
Okay.
It was just a mix-up that we had, and so I'll take the blame for that one. But we're
no blame. I just want
no,
to rectify
yeah.
it.
Yeah, and we're working on the data is all in one of the two places. It's just a matter of syncing it up and getting it to the place where it's going to be effective and can be usable. And then once we have that data in there, then we can check it, get past the fix it, and then get to the check it part, and then move into fix the problem for good. From what I heard, some of it had to do with the transition, but I'm not 100% sure what's going on behind the scenes as far as rules and stuff. And if there's something broken inside that part of Civi where we have to actually go in and fix the rules themselves, which would be its own project, I think, for national. And then we've just got to see if it's across affiliates and see if they're struggling with it too. So
Cool.
It's going to be a slow one, probably. We'll hope for 6 months.
I want to say though that they probably need a little put their feet to the fire a little bit, because they've moved off of Civi, so they're no longer dealing with the issue of Civi on a daily basis, which means that they're gonna fix the thing that they're working on.
Right.
I'm not saying that you know how it works, so
Yeah.
just kind of constantly be like, yo, fix it.
Noted. Yeah, I think we can do that. And that's good, helpful.
Yeah.
Advice.
And on the topic of holding their feet to the fire, I've submitted a few tickets to National IT, but they've changed how they do tickets to where that it's harder for me to track what I've submitted, which is a pain.
Perfect. I love when that happens.
Hey, this is Doug Craig. I got a question whenever it's time.
I think you're free to ask.
Say again?
I think you're free to ask. Go ahead.
All right. So I know we can't go out and ask for people to renew, but could we go ahead and do a letter just for fundraising? Ask people to do monthly pledges.
Yes. Yes, we can.
Right. And that way, once we get these thousands of monthly pledges, we don't have to worry about renewals anymore because they'll be automatic.
Yeah, it's a little tricky on that because there are people who have the monthly payments who are showing as lapsed when they're still, their processes are going through. So they're making the payment and then it's showing as pending inside Civi. So it's like the payment's going through every month, just month by month, but it's not showing. It gets locked up in Civi somewhere and it shows them as pending or a payment as pending, and then they show as lapsed. So it's like the money is coming in. It's just the matter of the CRM linking up with the payment processor. So yes, we can do it, and yes, it would help. I just think there's still something behind the scenes that we've got to figure out what it is and still fix it. So I like the idea, and I think we should do it for sure. And I'm working on those little pledge cards too that you were talking about, because I think that's a great idea, and I might try that out this Wednesday. Okay, are there any other questions? Anything else that anyone's got going? Ms. Austin?
Yes, I just had an announcement, if now's an appropriate time for that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or more of an appeal, I guess. I am chair of the Candidate Support Committee And so I would like to appeal to the group who's on the call. If you're not already part of a committee, or even if you are, I could use some help. So I'd like everybody to please consider joining my team. And if you could just either send me a note or type something in the chat, I'll be in touch.
Perfect. Thank you. Please do that. There's lots to be done there, and we have some goals tied to that committee. So, anything you guys can do helps us get to the place where we can come to the convention and say, hey, we're knocking it out of the park. Thank you. Elizabeth, did you have anything else?
No, that's it. I'm finished.
Perfect. So we have the Great Create on 9/27 and 28. Any other events that you had?
The range days.
Range days, June 8th and
November 2nd. Yes.
November 2nd. Okay. Cool. Yep. And bring people out to those. They're really great, good information, and it'll up your game. All right. We will move on to the secretary's report.
I've got another direction for all the directors, which is that I've been in the process of refreshing the membership list for all the committees that we have. I know I've already bugged a lot of you about that already, so thanks for getting back to me. But for anyone who's a committee director, as you add people to your committee, please just let me know.
Thank you, sir. All right, we'll move on to the treasurer's report. Mr. Allen, before we go ahead.
Yeah, on that note, and also I would like to do a shameless plug. I'm soliciting members for the Public Policy Committee. You can see a link on the Basecamp HQ, or you can reach out to me. I'm really easy to get a hold of pretty much anywhere. If you are okay with reading through lots of legislation, I can always use more help doing that.
Love it. That's like a libertarian's dream, right? All the back office work, all the things that don't require talking to people and being in rooms, right? So again, several places you can get involved. Please do if you're not on a committee already. That is part of our responsibility as members of the executive committee. So we want to take our role seriously and do that. Okay. Treasurer's report.
Hello,
Mr.
hello.
Morgenthau.
Okay. Okay. Is this showing up? Can you see my screen?
Not yet. We'll give it a second and it might. You might have to try again.
Okay.
Now we're talking.
Okay. It's showing up?
Yeah, but now we're in an infinite loop.
Okay, cool. So does it show this? Does
Revenue?
it show? Yes.
Yes.
It shows the graphs. Okay. So I got some good feedback as far as formatting. And there's some limitation on what can be done in Google Sheets. So some things will be added as far as what I think I'll do starting next month is that using other softwares, I'll have these charts with some type of embedded notes that shows why there might be some irregularities. And then, so what I'll do is I'll have a ongoing Google Sheet that anyone can access that tries to simplify some of these numbers that are being put in, along with the kind of graphs that I think help people make decisions with some type of labeling. And that will likely come from an Excel file that might have add-ons so that if you want to see and recreate and manipulate those graphs, you'll be able to by downloading the file. But for now, the graphs are going to look similar to last time. And kind of the important numbers that we can see, and that also showing the trend, but I'll go to the numbers in a second. Just we are cooling down from what's happened from convention, but we're pretty close to breaking even. And something interesting is, it's not letting me hide something, but let's see if I can get to some numbers. Okay, that's not the one I want. Okay, I'll have to go to the unsimplified one. But okay, so I'll zoom in here to make the numbers easier. You can kind of see a trend in membership going into convention. During convention, it's pretty high, and then we can see that it's still kind of higher than it was prior to convention. So that's kind of something good overall. Outside of that, there aren't really any particular revenues or expenses that are out of the norm. But if there's questions about the formatting or some specific number, I can answer that now. And I also want to show something else pretty quick. So okay, so if that's the case, yeah, I'm kind of working on a lot of the tax stuff that needs to get done by the 15th. So I'll have the new format done by the next meeting. But kind of something I've been testing with the Fulton County is integrating with Twilio and using Google Sheets. We can kind of make a basic customer relation management system where people who are willing to just put some of their time, add in their number. We have a list of people whose transactions have failed. So those are kind of on the older side, but some of these are pretty new, where we can see that there are some failing transactions ongoing in April that we can call people. I just need to do some matching as far as what's contribution, what's membership, and then getting people's phone numbers. And then I think we can kind of crowdsource calling people and then kind of putting in where they are in some type of status. And how this will work is that if you have someone's number, you put in your own, you click this call button. We have Twilio will mask as our office number. It'll call you and then connect you to that person's number. And then we will put, you'll either be able to update, I'll add a description box, and we'll keep some status going. So yeah, we did this for the Fulton affiliate, and I think it helped with efficiency. Any questions or comments about this?
I'm just going to make some quick comments just to kind of make sure we all know what's going on. This is not official. It's not anything that's going to be where data is stored. It's not the system of record. And this Danny is off, so he doesn't have to have a heart attack. That we're trying to do something outside of the system. The reason this exists is because it's a quick way. There are softwares that will do just call banking and stuff, and they cost thousands of dollars a month. This is a very simple way that we can't do this in the CRM as it stands now, but this would be like an export from the CRM. You put a name and a phone number in there, and you click call on whatever row you're on, and it calls your phone, and you're basically connecting to this person immediately after you answer. So it's like a really awesome chance for us to have something really cool that allows us to call people without having to go into somebody's CRM account and sit there for 10 minutes while it loads, and then you call them, and then you sit there for another 10 minutes trying to enter in your data. This is a fast, expedited way, and then we can upload a lot of this data back into the CRM. We haven't historically done a really good job of that, but the fact that this is here gives us an opportunity to put it back in so that it can be in the system with activity notes, what it was, a call, obviously, and the date and any notes that we have with it. So this is an awesome thing. Alex and Gretchen are going to connect on this to talk through some of the membership stuff and what she's trying to accomplish and what he's already built that I think is fantastic, and then try and put the two together, marry them, and make something really effective and efficient for getting those calls done. Did I get it right, Alex?
Yes, that was very useful context.
Perfect. Just don't want anybody to, get feeling any type of way that we're, taking data out of the system. The ultimate goal is for it to go back into the system
Yes.
and be better off than we were before, even with just some extra tools that can go on top of the CRM. Cool. Are there any questions on the treasurer's report? All right. If there's none, we'll hear from affiliate support. If Elizabeth, if you hadn't said anything, if there's anything missing.
No, I think I included everything in the executive director's report.
Okay, cool. Usually we just stop at the treasurer's report anyway, so that's my fault. All right. If there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second. I hear it. It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor of adjourning, please indicate so by raising your hands. Nine. All right, you can lower them. And those opposed. The ayes had it. The motion carries. We are adjourned.